Well, October 1970, and Canada was gripped by a serious crisis with armed soldiers in the streets after the War Measures Act was invoked to hunt the FLQ. And Paul Rose was a leading figure in that drama. He was convicted for his role in the murder of a Quebec cabinet minister. Rose died today at a Montreal hospital after suffering a stroke. The CBC's Cullen has more.
He was the face of homegrown terrorism. Paul Rose was an ideological leader with the Front de Libération du Québec. The FLQ graduated from bombing mailboxes to kidnapping officials. Ottawa responded with soldiers in the streets and mass arrests. It was a critical moment in Canada's history. Then one of the abductees, Quebec Cabinet Minister Pierre Laporte, was found dead in the trunk of a car.
Well, it was shock and consternation, I believe, that all Canadians have learnt of the death of Mr. Pierre Laporte.
Rose was convicted of Laporte's murder and kidnapping, sentenced to life and paroled after more than a decade in prison. But there are questions about how responsible Rose was for Laporte's death. One government report suggested Paul Rose wasn't even in the room when Laporte died. In an interview from prison, Rose wouldn't say. It's the FLQ that killed Pierre Laporte, he said. But Rose refused to say who did what, saying it was a question of solidarity. Either way, Quebec's justice minister during the October crisis says Rose and those he worked with are morally responsible.
They were amateurs who played with fire, That's all.
Once out of prison, Rose continued to speak out about his political views. But he was often ostracized and likely hurt his own cause, says this political analyst.
I think the October crisis had exactly the opposite effect of what the members of the FLQ were hoping for at the time. By associating violence with the sovereignty movement, the effect was to turn off, alienate a great many Quebecers.
Paul Rose was 69. Cullen, CBC News, Montreal.